Welcome back to the Puck and Ball Podcast. I'm Evan. Matt and the national champion fans, Michael Miles, are here. Boys, I'm happy for you. I'm really happy for you. It sucks. I want to
Thank
be in
you.
your shoes right now. You guys are both there. I'll let you guys have the floor for now. Talk to me about the atmosphere of the team, best sporting event you've ever been to. Tell us your personal side of it real quick. Michael, you can go first.
What a glorious day it was. My team finally won a championship, and I could not be happier. Michigan was the best team in the country all year. I've been saying it, like we were dominant. We beat every team pretty handily, and nobody could stop us. Our defensive line in that game specifically did all the work for our defense, and our defense. I heard the stat from Joel Klatt, let up 13 points in 13 possessions, which is pretty impressive against a team that was averaging 350 passing yards a game. It just Jesse Minter just dialed up nice coverages and let the four D linemen work and get pressure, and that's how our defense gets stops is getting pressures on the quarterback. We took Penix off his spot. And his timing is off, his accuracy was off, and we dominated. And then on offense, our offense is really big play dependent. But we made a lot of big plays, so that's we put it together. It looked a little rough when we were only holding on to like a 7 point lead for a while with a lot of punts, but our defense kept us ahead, and it was a great win. The crowd was amazing. Miles can talk about that too. Like it was so fun to be there.
Yeah, that was probably the best game I've ever been to, and I was also at the Eagles Super Bowl, so I think that's saying a lot.
Flex.
Yeah, just well, yeah. It looked like Michigan was the best team all season. I mean, the team just looked so special from the first game, and you could tell that they were gonna make it far. Their whole team was just so good. Their defense was extremely dominant. I saw a stat they led at halftime in every game, which was just extremely dominant, very impressive. And yeah, I see some people saying to put an asterisk next to this championship, which I completely disagree with, obviously.
You
But
can't.
yeah, it was just really special team, special game, and it was cool to see some of our best players have really good games, like Mason Graham, Will Johnson, JJ, Corum, Edwards, and yeah, it was a great game and great great atmosphere.
They
And
didn't
I
give up. They didn't give up more than 24 points once the whole year
Yeah,
with an average differential of over 20 points. It's just complete
insane.
dominate.
crazy.
It's complete domination from week 1 to week
Mhm.
15, whatever it is. Go ahead.
And I was saying kind of like in the beginning of the year when we were beating up on the bad teams and everyone was like, "Oh, you're not playing anyone good." I was saying to my brother, and I don't know if I ever mentioned this to Miles and Jake. I feel like I had, but like, um, we that felt like the best Michigan team of my lifetime. Like even against the bad teams, because old Michigan teams, even with a bad schedule, would have had one at least like really bad game where like it kind of looked close and that you all of our like flaws were exposed against a bad team. We are like, okay, this team could do well in the Big Ten, but when we get to the big dogs in the SEC and outside the Big Ten, we're gonna lose. And it didn't feel like that. It felt like we were a dominant team and we were just such a complete team. So this did feel like the year we had to win and we did. So it feels good.
Let's go to the field a little bit. Harbaugh, complete domination. Moore, complete domination. Minter, complete domination. The coaching or what do you guys think coaching is like for Michigan next year? Minter and Moore head coaches? Is Harbaugh a head coach in the NFL? Is Moore head coach? I mean, there's so many possibilities with those three guys. What do you guys think, Miles? What do you got?
I personally think Harbaugh stays. I mean, we've seen these rumors the past 3 seasons, and everyone's saying, "Oh, he's gonna leave," and like he just keeps coming back. And I see people are saying like, "What left does he have to do?" Like he came there to win a championship and rebuild the program, and he's already done that. But I feel like he's just so connected with the program and the university that like he won't find something better outside of college football and coaching for Michigan. And as for Sharon Moore and Jesse Minter, I think they stay as the coordinators. And if Harbaugh does leave, I think Moore gets the promotion.
Yeah.
And gets a head coaching position.
Yeah, completely agree with everything Miles just said. And the only thing I'd add is I think Minter will stay another 1 or 2 years until he's poached by an NFL team. He just
Yeah.
has such an elite scheme, and it's like him and Mike McDonald are clones. They have the Ravens defense down, and I think Minter will if they assuming they have a dominant defenses in the near future, he'll be gone to the NFL.
I mean, Minter's dominant defense completely messed up Michael Penix's rhythm all night. Would you guys say it was more of Penix's inability to create when pressured, or was it a Michigan defensive masterclass?
I thought it was a defensive masterclass. I mean, you could see our D line just got to him the whole time. We only rushed like 4 players most of the time, and we just disrupted every single play against what is said to be the best O line in the
Yeah.
country. And we've seen Michael Penix like dissect very good defenses, but I mean when he goes up against the best defense in the country, it looked like he struggled a lot. And I mean, Will Johnson played an insane game, locked up Odunze, and just all around a defensive masterclass by Michigan.
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit of both. Like we had obviously a defensive masterclass, but also there were times when they had guys open, and because our defense was so dominant at the line of scrimmage, we just threw Penix off his spot and he missed open guys. We all know the Odunze 4th and 7. They had to hit that. He was wide open. That's a walk-in touchdown. He missed it. On the pick to Sainristil, they had a dig opening up on the left side. That probably would have been right at the sticks and converted, but Penix was thrown off his spot, so he panicked. He made he threw it up to the guy in double coverage, and Sanders still made the pick and took it all the way to the 5. It just Penix wasn't ready for what we had dialed up, which is fair. Most quarterbacks aren't in college against an NFL scheme. But it is definitely concerning because NFL scouts are going to see Penix play like that against a great defense and be worried about his decision making and accuracy.
You completely read my mind. What do we think this does for his draft stock? Is he still a top 4, top 5 QB, top 15, 20 pick? What do we think? I mean, there were talks of him being a top 5, 6, 7 pick if he could perform against this Michigan defense. But what do we think?
I don't think it really moves around that much. I mean, it's one bad game. Every player has bad games, but yeah, I still see him going in the first round and being one of the top quarterbacks.
I also think he was a little banged up that we didn't take into
Yeah,
account before the
Yeah.
game. But I mean, Michigan just kept hitting him and hitting him. It just
Mhm.
yeah.
took a toll. What do you think, Mike?
I think he's still quarterback 3 or 4. I think May and Williams are the clear top 2, and then after that, it's probably Daniels and Penix as the 3rd and 4th. And there's like a kind of a quarterback boost for draft stock. Like
Yeah.
quarterbacks will go earlier than you think just because they're quarterbacks. So I still think he'll be a first round pick, but it definitely hurts. Like it's not he didn't put anything good on tape, I don't think.
Let's look into next year because why not? New 12-team bracket, conference realignment, no Pac-12 anymore. Big Ten, SEC, ACC, Big 12 all got major boosts. Early winter prediction. I mean, I know you guys won it a couple nights ago. Does Michigan get it done again? Georgia's back, #1 recruiting class. Alabama, #2 recruiting class. Big squads are always going to be there. What do you guys think?
It's tough to say if Michigan will run it back just because our roster is going to look so much different. Like all the uncertainty with our quarterback position and our O line will probably have 5 new players. Our receiving core will probably be completely different. Corum could leave, Edwards could leave. I mean, really just like 90-80% of the starting lineup could leave, and also Harbaugh could leave. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
if I had to predict it right now, I would probably give it to Georgia or Bama just because of their transfer classes and recruiting classes. And I mean, they're always competing, so I don't see why they wouldn't compete this year.
Yeah, I would probably take Georgia too, just because all the uncertainty with Michigan. If JJ comes back and coaching comes back and they get some returning guys, I could see them obviously making a great run. But Georgia ultimately is getting a lot of guys back. Obviously, Carson Beck is coming back, and they're just so talented. Like this was kind of a rare year. Like the playoff kind of got lucky. They were left out. And then I also think I hate it, but Ohio State like can make
Yeah, I
some
was
noise.
going to ask.
Um,
Yeah.
Like it really just depends how good Will Howard is. Like Ohio State fans are hyping him up like he's the best of all time, but we'll see how good he really is. And obviously they just got Judkins from Ole Miss, so they're going to be obviously Ohio State's always good, but it just depends if they could finally beat Michigan.
We're talking about a Georgia down year in which they went 13-1 and lost to a
Yeah.
top 4 team in the nation,
Yeah.
which is absurd. I think they get it done again.
Mhm.
They get their title back. Trevor Etienne coming in, Carson Beck, pair him along with Kirby Smart, and elite defense. No more recruiting classes. No reason to tell me not. Tell me why they cannot run it back to the championship. But I do want to mention a little sleeper team if you guys have one as well. I think Ole Miss, you need to keep their eye on them. I mean, it's pretty much the same roster. Jackson Dart looks pretty good towards the end of the year. Beat up on a good Ole Miss or good Penn State team, excuse me. And then Lane Kiffin, he's a winner, so we never know what can happen with that Ole Miss program. You guys have a little sleeper team or not really?
I mean, if I had to pick like a like Alabama and Georgia, I think are the favorites. But other than that, I would probably say Oregon maybe, just because of
Yeah.
getting Gabriel and just the amount of talent they have on their roster already, and like also the recruiting classes. They're gonna be up top there with Bama and Georgia, so they'll definitely compete.
Yeah, I would probably just pick Ole Miss too, just because they're really active in the transfer portal and Dart's returning but at the end of the day, I like as many sleeper teams as there can be. I think one of
There's
the top
always
teams will still win. Like
yeah, there's no reason to tell us not. Let's go. Jaden Daniels won Heisman this year. His team wasn't that good with 3 losses. Do we see that happening again, or is it one of those top teams that we just mentioned that get a Heisman winner?
I think if JJ returns, he that's my Heisman pick.
Is
Because
he gonna return?
I don't know. It really like I really don't know.
What do you think it
I've
depends
seen
on?
mocks in the first round, and if he's getting feedback that he's a first round pick, then obviously he goes. But like who knows? Who knows if the mocks are actually what the scouts are thinking? So I think it's probably 50-50 shot. And since I don't know, I'll give the benefit of the doubt that he returns, comes back, tries to go back to back, and wins the Heisman.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned it just a second ago, but I would probably pick Dylan Gabriel just because he was a favorite for a little bit this year after his win against Texas, and I think Oregon's a much better program than Oklahoma right now. So just with all that, with all those weapons and that really good offense and defense and just a really good overall team, like if they're up there competing, like I said, then I don't see why he won't be up top there in the Heisman race.
I had Gabriel as well, but also Quinn Ewers needs to keep an eye out for him if he returns to Texas. So Dylan Gabriel, I just don't see him doing bad in a system in which Bo Nix just completely flourished in and was a Heisman candidate himself. So I think it's a similar skill set, both mobile, accurate quarterbacks. But um, next year's gonna be a great one. New realignment, new 12-team tournament. It's the peak college football. Peak NFL is right now. Week 18 just wrapped up. Playoffs this whole weekend. Let's talk week 18 before we get to the playoff preview. Matt, let's get you in the conversation. Jags, a complete meltdown. Lost to the Titans, lost to the division, completely out of the playoffs. What do you think happened? Is Trevor Lawrence not the guy that you thought he was with your MVP pick before week 1?
No, he's definitely not the guy. I heard this on another show. You know, when they're doing blind resumes of a quarterback, it's not a good sign. His stats are practically the same as Mac Jones, and Mac
Wow.
Jones has worse players around him.
Oh my God.
That's brutal.
It's just a complete disaster. And I also saw like a 2-minute video today of him just like
Him
missing
missing.
touchdowns.
Hmm.
I mean, it's too early to say he's a bust, but he's definitely not the number one pick or even close to that. And I feel like just because he's a big name, the Jaguars want to keep him. But like, at what point do you say you got to draft a new quarterback?
It's a complete 180 from last year. 3% to make it in. They were 4-9, and now this year they were 96% to make it in at one point. And now they're in. They're out this year. They're in last year. I mean, it's just absolute wild. Matt, Michael, or Miles, Michael, what do you got? Anything?
I mean, yeah, Trevor Lawrence took a pretty big step back this year, and I don't see it getting any better for the Jags in the future because the Texans and Colts look like they'll be competing in the AFC for a while with Richardson and Stroud. So I would be worried if I was a Jags fan, and yeah, just doesn't look good.
I'm not giving up hope on Lawrence yet. Obviously, like I thought he was going to take a huge leap this year, and I was on board with Matt's pick that he'd be the MVP. But he took a step back, and I do think there's other factors involved. Their offensive line wasn't that good. As good as Travis Etienne was in fantasy, he's not the best like pure running back. So they didn't have like an elite run game, and they had solid weapons, but nobody really elite. Like Calvin Ridley didn't really take that elite step that people thought he would. And Christian Kirk was a reliable target that got hurt halfway through the year. But yeah, Lawrence, he had some bad moments this year, and especially in that last game, he was just missing. So I really think he with better O line and some offensive improvements, better play caller maybe. He can get back to his old self, but it is concerning because you would have liked to for him to take a step.
I mean, another team that is obviously concerning going into the playoffs is Miles' Eagles. Bombarded by the Giants, who had nothing to play for. Tyrod Taylor was playing for his own fun, but I mean, I'll stop. All you. I know you have a lot. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't really have that much. It's pretty simple. They just suck right now. I mean, if it were me, if I was the head person at the in the Eagles organization, I would just completely clean the house with coaches, get rid of Sirianni despite his really good record, get rid of Desai, Patricia, and Brian Johnson. I still think this roster is good. The defensive roster, not as good as the offense, obviously, but I think we have a lot of young talent that we can build off of. We have 3 top 60 picks this year, so I'm kind of hoping we lose our playoff game to get a better pick, just so I could stop watching this terrible team.
That's crazy.
I kind of wish last week decided if they made the playoffs or not. I mean, it's a pretty popular opinion among Eagles fans that we just don't want to watch anymore. We want the season to end.
10-1 to losing 4 of the last 5, which is was
Sounds
it
like
4 of the
another
last
team right
5?
now.
Oh, good one, dude. That's good. I mean, that's a good transition. I mean, Dolphins game 272 did not go as we planned. I'll let you guys talk about it first, and then I'll chime in with my views. Michael, you can start us off.
Yeah, I think we all know the main takeaway from the Dolphins collapse is Tua is not that guy. Matt and I have been trying to tell Evan this, but he didn't believe us. If I were a Dolphins fan, when Tua was succeeding, I think I would have seen that he's really not all that, and would have agreed with myself and Matt. But Dolphins fan didn't see it, and now they do. He can't elevate the offense to where they can beat elite teams. He beat one team above 500, right, this year,
Cowboys.
Dallas. And I don't know. I think their team is still solid, obviously. And they had the game until the punt return. So I don't know. It's tough to see back-to-back years they kind of collapsed at this time of the year. Maybe they could pull one out at Arrowhead. It's just tough with the conditions, and it's just brutal to see. Like I'm sorry for you, Evan, because it looked like an exciting season and it fell apart.
Matt, you want to take a victory lap on your Tua take as well before?
Well, I'm not going to take a victory lap until the playoffs. I mean, the regular season at this point, yeah, terrible ending, but I agree with Michael, and I'll get into this later. But I do think they could beat the Chiefs, and you never know what's going to happen. I'm just saying, like, I didn't think they were a huge threat earlier in the season. I don't think they are now. I just think the Chiefs are just not a threat really at all either. So I'll give the Dolphins the benefit of the doubt.
Wow.
Yeah.
More optimistic than I am. But going back to that other game, I just think the score was much closer than it was. I mean, the fact that the Dolphins had a 14-7 lead with almost a whole quarter left to play was actually blew my mind because the Dolphins had no business being in that game. They were end of the first half. If better clock management by Josh Allen, they're in for a touchdown. They take a lead into half. Josh Allen threw a pick on their own inside their own 10 in the first quarter. I just think they had no reason being in that game. And going back to Tua, I just don't understand what he saw in that play to Chase Claypool on the last throw. It blows my mind. It really does. Tyreek Hill was out for that one play, and it's just I could have called that. I really could have. I could have called that it was going to go straight downhill, but it's just the thing that stood out to me was the quarterback difference. I mean, Josh Allen was Superman. I mean, there were definitely some things that that you scratched your head when he did with the 4th and 2 Hail Mary into the end zone, which was essentially a punt, which ended up perfectly fine. But then he runs for a first down on 3rd and 16, which is just Tua is never doing that. Tua is never doing anything close to like that, and it's just he can't improvise. I've been saying that for a couple of weeks now, but I denied it earlier in the year, but just because they were success, they were 6-3 at one point, 8-3 at another point. I mean, put yourself in my shoes. You're putting up 70 points against the Broncos. Obviously, you're going to be happy.
Yeah, no, obviously I'd be happy, but like I was trying to tell you that like Tyreek and the speed and the system they were in were the main points of value to that offense and not to it.
Yeah, I definitely do think that we looked a little too much into the Bills, like the difference between the Bills and the Dolphins, because their hard stretch was towards the middle of the year when they played the Chiefs. The Eagles back to back are 2 out of 3 weeks, and the Dolphins had their hard stretch this past 3 weeks with Bills, Ravens, and Cowboys to finish out the year. So I do think the Bills are the better team. I do think they're a force to be reckoned with in the East or in the AFC. But anything else in Week 18? What we got? Jonathan Taylor not on the field for that last play. Um, Tyler Goodson, whatever his name is. What
Yeah.
do you think, Miles?
I mean, I see what Steichen was trying to do there. Like,
He was open.
if you've Jonathan Taylor in that play, like the Texans are obviously gonna like have all eyes on him because he was just dominating that game the whole time. But I mean, the play was ran perfectly. Just Minshew couldn't make the throw, and I guess Goodson could have caught it. I mean, it hit his hand, so he probably should have caught it. But kind of both of their faults, I would say. Wouldn't just put it on one of them. But I mean, the play was perfect for that situation. Just couldn't execute.
Puka Nacua broke wide receiver record for reception and yards. A question: What is he as a wide receiver? Top. Give it to me. I'll let Matt. What do you got? Top what? Puka.
Currently top 10. Currently.
Really?
I'd say like
Doesn't mean
15.
like overall yet.
Top 10, I think. Probably too early. I think I would take 10 guys over him, but 15 or like around 17, I feel like would be more reasonable.
Agreed.
I would say around 15 as well. I
Talk
mean,
about the Packers.
go ahead. Sorry, all you did.
I just didn't know if we were gonna talk about that, but
Again.
yeah, the Packers made the playoffs. And after all this all the Eagles and Dolphins having a great season, the Packers maybe have the brightest outlook out of all of them. I mean, they're 7-point underdogs against the Cowboys, but like in terms of like this season was a great success. Like Jordan Love is that guy. He's really good. What is he, third in the league in touchdowns, in total touchdowns? He went off and he had his best 3 games in the season to close out the year. Aaron Jones coming back was huge for the offense, and we have receivers that can make plays, even though they're not big names and high draft picks, and it just like speaks to the coaching of the Packers and the system they're in. Just all the young guys are finally putting it together, and it's exciting to see. I'm guessing they're going to lose to Dallas, or if not, if they beat Dallas, then they have to play San Francisco. So the run's probably not going to go very far, but either way, I'm excited that they made the playoffs, and this was big for our team. I still hire Joe Barry.
I'll give my official pick a little later, but I actually do give them a little shot against the Cowboys. Cowboys love to run man. Packers have a couple of speedy wide receivers that those corners might not be able to keep up with, and Aaron Jones is running the ball great. Cowboys aren't the best at stopping the run, so who knows? Definitely have a shot. I do want to touch on some coaches that got fired, that got the boot recently. Mike Vrabel out of Tennessee, definitely a surprising one. Is that his fault? Is it a lack of a good roster handed to him, put him in his lap? But I mean, he's probably one of the best coaches that's been let go in the recent memory. Matt, what do you think?
I know we were talking about him a little bit last week. I mean, yeah, he's a good coach. I don't think this was all his fault. Like you said, the roster wasn't great, but it's just a time for him to move on. I think he had won 6 games over the last 2 seasons, I think, or something like he had a pretty bad record the last 2 seasons, even though he was coach of the year in 2022. I think he could possibly go to the Patriots just because
I agree.
he got ties there and Belichick's probably gone.
I do want to ask surrounding the Titans, is Derrick Henry done? He gave that little speech following the finale. Do we have an early team that could use him real quick? Just off the top of your head.
Packers.
I'm pretty
Dol-
sure like
Dolphins.
Ravens were in the mix at the beginning of the season, so
I can see
That
that.
would
Well,
be-
they have Mitchell and Dobbins still. So who
and
knows?
I think the Eagles were too before they got Swift, but
I mean,
yeah.
he's an absolute stud. He's a little old, but he still put up 130 yards and a tud against the Jags. So he always seems to torch the Jags. But let's go Jameis Winston and Arthur Smith and Dennis Allen. Anyone? What do we? I've heard some mixed reviews within my family and social media. What do you guys think, Michael? What do you think on the whole
I,
situation?
I think Arthur Smith's in the right. I
In the
don't.
right, so you think Jameis is wrong?
Yeah. First of all, Dennis Allen. So Dennis Allen
Had
didn't
nothing to do with
know.
it.
Okay.
He
So
he
that's
said let's take a knee.
this is kind of similar to the Jair situation where the
Yeah.
coaches didn't know he was going out for the coin toss, but the players did. The coaches run the team, so the players should not be, no matter how many players agree on it or feel like it's the right thing to do. It's ultimately the coach's decision, and the players aren't above the coaches, and they should have took a knee there. If you're gonna give it to Williams, at least like line up in a formation where
Sure.
you're like the defense knows you're running it. If you're in a kneeing formation, like you're telling the defense to just stand there and concede. So I think it's kind of ridiculous. I think Arthur Smith should have still been fired. But I think he was in the right in confronting Dennis Allen. Because he didn't know Dennis Allen had nothing to do with it. So yeah, I don't know.
Do either of you disagree with Michael?
I agree with Michael, but Arthur Smith is just such a bad coach, so I think it's deserved. Oh, we lost Miles.
Whoa. Hey now. I mean,
He could probably join back.
interesting that one. But I do think I actually disagree with you. I really don't. I don't see it like I understand it's the unwritten rules of football, but when it comes to week 18, it's not like you're gonna see the team again. It's not like it means anything. And just don't get down that much, dude. I mean, you're down 41-17. What's the difference between 48-17? It's like that part makes you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
but
see
I,
both sides.
like I definitely see your side of the argument, but I just don't see um like I don't know. It's a toss up, but I would say if I had to choose a side, I would be on Jameis's side.
I'm completely fine with it if they weren't in a kneeing formation. That's my take.
Okay, I see that
Like
as well. No,
because
that's
there's
true.
2 minutes left, like you have the ball in the one, like if you run it in, fine. But the fact that they like showed the whole crowd and the other team that they were gonna take a knee and then didn't is kind of ridiculous.
Also, Jameis's point on, they had a pick that set them up at the 2. If they returned it into the end zone, is there that big of an issue? If
And
they
that goes along with my point. Like it's fine. Like I'm fine with them
That goes
scoring.
on with my point too, though.
Yeah.
Jameis is just an idiot. We can all agree on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's funny.
I kind of like him. Let's pick a couple playoff games. I mean, we got 6 great games this weekend. All of them I think can go not either way, but I wouldn't be surprised if one team beat the other. Browns Texans starting us off 4:30 on Saturday. Texans somehow got the AFC South from the Jags. Matt, what do you got? Let's start us
I'm
off.
taking the Browns. I just think their defense is too good, especially for a rookie quarterback. Even though Stroud's been great, like Joe Flacco's just really impressed me. I think they're just straight up the better team.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking the Browns. I think they have the record for a reason. It doesn't feel like they should be that good, but it's really their defense is so good. Myles Garrett has been so dominant this year. The offenses have to completely game plan around him, and it's tough to succeed on offense when you have to worry about a guy that dominant. And then in terms of offense, like I think the Texans defense is good, but it's not elite, and Flacco has been dealing. I'm guessing he's going to throw 1 or 2 picks, but I think he'll have enough passing yards and touchdowns to score. And the Browns' run game's still pretty solid even without Chubb. But if Stroud won a playoff game at home in his first year, it'd still be pretty
That'd
cool.
be electric. I do
That'd
think I think the Texans are going to win. I don't think that they made the playoffs just to lose in the first round. And I think some people are going to look into is he back? Hey,
Is our
Sorry about that. I
Browns
completely
Browns Texans. What do you got, kid?
Browns Texans. I got the Browns.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. Thanks.
Just
Short,
I mean
sweet.
they're the favorite. I think their defense just is completely dominant, and Stroud won't be able to handle it.
I do think some people are going to look into the Week 16 matchup in which the Browns just completely dominated, but Stroud didn't play, so you got to remember that. I just don't know if I think they're a team of destiny, kind of like, I mean, it's been a while, but kind of like the Panthers in hockey. They squeaked into the playoffs recently towards the
Mhm.
end of the year, and then I'm not saying they're making the finals, but I think they get a win or maybe even two. A team that I hope gets a win is the Dolphins, who head to Arrowhead, chilly Arrowhead, maybe even negative degrees in Arrowhead. This is what they put themselves into with not winning the division, losing to the Titans late in week 13, losing to the Bills, losing to the Ravens. Dolphins have a shot, Matt. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they have a shot. I would have given them more of a shot if it wasn't for the cold weather. Um, yeah, I mean the Chiefs. I don't. It's more that I think the Chiefs are going to screw themselves instead of the Dolphins winning this game.
So you think the
Oh,
Dolphins?
I didn't actually make the pick.
Dolphins win.
I am taking the Chiefs.
Wait, what? You just said
I said if I was making like hypothetically the Dolphins won, I could see
oh, okay, got it.
Okay.
the
Got it,
Chiefs would be
understood.
not playing well instead of the Dolphins doing anything special, but I'm still taking the Chiefs just because of the weather.
Got it. Michael?
I'll pick the Chiefs. I look, the Chiefs are so hard to predict because I keep feeling like Mahomes and Kelsey and Reed will figure it out. And they don't. But it's the playoffs, they're home, it's extremely cold. It's just a tough situation against a good defense for Tua to thrive in. And I think Mahomes and that offense will do enough to beat the kind of a depleted Dolphins defense that's banged up. It's just a tough situation for the
Yeah.
Dolphins.
What do you got, Miles?
Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs too. Just they're home. I trust Mahomes and Andy Reid more than I do the Dolphins. And we kind of saw how Tua really is as a player, and I don't think he'll be able to play well in Arrowhead. And I just think the Dolphins are too banged up to win the game.
I think the Chiefs as well. I think the
Wow.
defensive. I mean, they're just completely depleted, especially at the linebacker position. They're bringing in Justin Houston from his couch. I mean, they're losing Van Ginkel again. They're down to their like fifth linebacker, which is
And Ginkle
absurd.
got hurt.
Ginkel's out for the year.
What's his injury?
His foot, and then Jerome Baker hurt his hand. He
So they
came
don't have
back,
Phillips, Chubb, or Ben Ginkle.
or their middle linebacker Jerome Baker.
Is Duke
It's
Riley healthy?
Crazy.
yeah, but
What
well,
about-
he didn't play last game because Baker hopped in.
About
Because
Waddle?
Baker just came back. What?
Yeah. What about
Waddle and
Waddle?
Mostert are playing.
They'll play. And I think that's their only shot if they do end up winning. I think they ground and pound. Mostert and Achane must combine for at least 150 if they want to win, in my opinion. Because Tua's not playing superhero ball. He's not the QB that I hoped he'd be. He's not a Mahomes. He's not an Allen. He's not even close to their level at that point, especially in a 4-degree weather in which Tua hasn't won a single game in. So, I mean, it was kind of the same story going into last year when they went to Buffalo and played the Bills, and Skylar Thompson was in a close game. So, I mean, you never doubt the Dolphins. But who knows? Steelers head to those said Bills. Orchard Park is going to be rocking. AFC East champions. What do you got, Matt?
I'm taking the Bills. I actually was like if TJ Watt was playing, I would have taken the Steelers. I know weather won't really affect the Steelers, and I'm just still not impressed by the Bills. Their offense still looks dysfunctional. I'm just worried about Josh Allen turnovers. But the Steelers just have nobody really. Like Mason Rudolph, I feel like he's in the middle of like a Josh Dobbs run right now. Like he'll eventually just go back to third string level. And Josh Allen's just better, even though he's a turnover machine.
Is it just the Josh Allen turnovers that you're not,
That's
too
what I'm a
pleased
little
with?
worried about. The
Is
Steelers
that
defense
it?
is bad. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not really worried about the Steelers offense doing anything.
Yeah. Muggs, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Bills. This is an easy pick. I do think it could be like a funny, like Josh Allen turns the ball over like 3 times and everyone's like flaming him like you're playing the Steelers, like what are you doing? But even if that happened, the Bills would still win. Like they're just the way better team. The Steelers looked like it was a terrible game against the Ravens backups. Like it was tough to watch, and especially with TJ Watt hurt there, they kind of have no chance.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills too. I think this is probably the easiest game to pick for me.
Yeah.
I mean, the Steelers just haven't looked like a playoff team the whole season, and the Bills have really looked a lot better since the middle of the season when they were out of the playoffs. And yeah, they're just a much better team, and I don't see them losing.
Easiest game for sure. Bills all around. Packers, Michael, Cowboys. I'll let you start us off. What do you got?
Yeah, I have a pretty detailed analysis on this game already. I'm gonna take the Packers, and I think it's because their offense is hard to stop right now. Like I think their offense will have their way against the Cowboys defense. I don't think the Cowboys defense is that good. Like you said, they play a lot of man. The Packers have a lot of speedsters. Christian Watson should be healthy, but who knows? Who knows with him? The Aaron Jones, no matter what defense he's playing, he averages like 5 a carry. He's so hard to stop, and I think the offense will put up a lot of points. So then it brings me into the defense. Like, can they hold up against Dak and CD in that high scoring offense? And I think they can. I'm obviously I don't like our defensive coordinator. We know that, but he had a great game plan against the Bears, and I know that the Bears it sounds crazy, but their offense is kind of built similar to the Cowboys, just on like a worse level. They have like a obviously Dak's way better than Fields, but they're both mobile. They both have a decent arm. Their O-line, like the Cowboys O-line's way better, but the Cowboys run game isn't that good, and neither is the Bears. The Bears have a number one guy in DJ Moore and kind of nobody else after that, which is CD. And the Packers put a great game plan together against that type of offense, and if Jair can shadow CD and hold his own, I think it's possible for the Packers to kind of just like beat them. Like, I don't know, I really think it's possible, but 7 point underdogs on the road, obviously it's gonna be tough.
Matt, what do you got? That was good, Mugs. Good job.
Yeah, good analysis. I'm still taking the Cowboys. I mean, I find it hard to believe they're going to lose at home, especially to first year playoff quarterback. And now, I mean, I hope that happens. Obviously, like no one wants the Cowboys to win. I just think they can't stop CD. I mean, I have an interesting thing I'm excited to see though. We know what happened with Brett Maher last year in the playoffs as the Cowboys. He missed like 5 extra points.
Yeah.
5 kicks in one game.
Extra
And
points.
Aubrey, he had one miss last game and one block, and then barely sneaked in another one. I hope he chokes.
I'm so mad of you.
I hope he chokes too.
Yeah.
It'd be funny. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I mean, Michael's points were pretty convincing, but I do think this will be closer than expected, but I will still take the Cowboys just because they're the much better team, and Packers kind of just snuck into the playoffs barely, and yeah, I think Dak will be able to have his way with the defense, and I do think it'll be really high scoring, but I think their offense is just better than their offense, and they'll just be able to out. I think it'll be a shootout, and they'll just outdo them.
I'll do them. I mentioned a little points earlier, but I mean Michael's points got me on the bandwagon. I mean, I'm choosing the Cheeseheads. I do think
Oh,
I do think the Cowboys do a little choke job in the playoffs as always. And the Cowboys never seem to amaze me when it comes to their playoff runs or lack thereof. So, I mean, I'm not confident in this pick. I wouldn't put anything on it,
yeah.
but go Pack, go, dude. I mean, who
How
knows?
electric would a Jordan Love road win against the Cowboys be?
That
The
would be
whole
awesome.
country would love
That'd
it.
be nice.
Vintage Rodgers.
Yeah.
Cowboys are Packers are Cowboys
Owners.
kryptonite. Owners kryptonite. Same thing. Yeah, I would say game of the week. Stafford heads back to Detroit. Rams Lions, great game on paper. Two great teams. Two teams coming in really hot. Sam Laporta, his status is in question after getting hurt week 18, which it absolutely sucks. Dude's a stud. Matt, what do you got for this game?
Taking the Rams. Lions offense. I mean, I'm blanking on who they played this week. If anyone remembers,
Vikings.
Vikings and the Vikings
30
defense.
points.
That Vikings defense is nothing special. The offense of the Lions look fine. Found a little confusing that the starters were in that late. Dan Campbell's I think a little dumb for that. I mean, he's trying to prove a point, but at what point are you just like playoffs are what really matters, not Evan?
They did have a shot at the 2 seed, so I think which is why, because if they won and then the Cowboys and Eagles both lost, they had a 2 seed. So
I mean, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. I mean, for
Yeah,
them,
no,
but
you're right.
I
You're
think
right.
the Rams offense looks great, better than the Lions, honestly, but their defense isn't, mid. But I just hope for a good game, like good storyline. I'm taking the Rams, but I just want there to be drama down at the end, especially because like Stafford's returning.
Mhm. Mugs, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Rams. I'm kind of a Lions hater, so I have to stick with it. I don't. The Lions cornerback room is pretty bad. Cam Sutton was like their big signing this offseason, and he's had a few rough games. So obviously, we know the Rams have some guys on offense with Cup and Puka. And Stafford's been playing some great football down the late season stretch. So I think the Rams offense will be able to put up points pretty easily, and their defense has performed way above expectations with Raheem Morris. He'll probably be a head coach soon, and without Laporta, and it's also golf. Like I don't trust golf. It's a playoff game. It's a high pressure. It's going to be a close game, I think. And at the end of the day, I trust Stafford like way more than I trust golf.
What? Just I digress a little bit. What do you think is a word take? Goff better than Lamar, or my early take that Packers were a top 5 team when they were 2-1?
Golf.
I think the golf takes worse. Because the Packers like ended up being like fine. I mean, they made the playoffs, but
Yeah, but they
Lamar's
were
Lamar's
deep in
the
the
MVP.
valley. Lamar is MVP. That is true. Maz, sorry.
Both
Go ahead.
questions.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams too. I mean the Lions defense the whole season hasn't been great, and the Rams are starting to get hot at the right time. So if they could just keep it going for a couple more games, I could see them potentially making a run.
I'm actually really surprised that it's all three of you guys on the Rams. I'm gonna go and take the Lions. I do think Gibbs and Monty are gonna ground and pound this team. I do think they combined for probably over 200 yards combined, all scrimmage yards in my opinion. And if Laporta plays, my pick becomes more and more confident. Amon-Ra is actually a dog.
Yeah.
I mean,
So good.
so good.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Stafford goes and wins, which would be a great story. But like Matt said, I'm just hoping for a good game. Um, I'll hand it back to you, Miles. Eagles. What do we think? They go to Tampa Bay, take on a Bucks team that you never know with Baker. He could have a good game or he could have his Cleveland days. What do you got?
I'm taking the Bucks. Yeah, I mean they look like the better team recently, and the script has kind of been set out on how to beat the Eagles. You literally just blitz, and then on the offense, you just throw it over the middle and expose their linebackers. So if they can do that, then I don't see how they don't win by 20 plus points.
Oh my
AJ
God.
Brown playing?
Dude, are you serious? 20
Um,
points?
AJ Brown. I mean, probably just because it's playoffs.
I think
doesn't
they'll
even
both.
care anymore.
Dude, he's so checked out. Like you would have thought. You would
I'm
have
actually
thought they're
I'm done
like.
with this team.
You would have
So
thought it's
fair,
week
then
18.
so
And
bad.
oh my God.
Like 6
Yeah.
weeks ago.
They were 10-1 6 weeks
Yeah.
ago, dude.
This season's
We were
been
crowning them
traumatizing.
champions 6 weeks ago.
Trump.
It's crazy. What do you got, Matt?
I am taking the Eagles. I was sold on the Bucks until the last 2 weeks. And then a 9-0 win over the Panthers. It's just embarrassing, even if you get the win. I just don't believe that the Eagles will lose to the Bucks. Like there's no rationale behind it. The Eagles look terrible. The Bucks also don't look good, even though they've been winning. But I mean, I just don't think AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, and Devontae Smith will lose to the Bucks. There's no reason why I think that.
Yeah, somehow Steelers Bills might not be the worst game of the week. This might be the Buccaneers obviously they looked really good against the Packers and exposed their linebackers and Miles just talked about how bad the Eagles linebackers are. So I can see their offense doing well, but like Matt said, they've just been not as good lately. 9-0 against the Panthers is just not enough to make me pick them. So I'm gonna pick the Eagles. I think they put it together for at least one more game and kind of figure out how to beat the Buccaneers are like they're mid. So I think Hurts will do much better than he has been doing and the Eagles will win and then they'll lose the next game.
I'm gonna take the Eagles as well, and I think it's a combination of two things, which is one, the talent, just the talent difference. I
Yeah.
mean, if you're looking at the rosters on paper, you would have thought that the Eagles have six more wins than that Buccaneers team. They are not good on paper. And the fact that the Bucs are hosting a game is so unimpressive to me. I mean, that division has got to be one of the worst. Like, it is the worst in the league, but one of the worst ever, in my opinion. It's just someone had to win it, and somehow they won it 9-8. But like you said, the Panthers 9-0 win, not impressive at all. Losing to the Saints the week before, so I just don't like. I just don't see a world in which the Eagles don't win. Sorry, Miles. You have one more week.
Yeah.
You have one more week. Super Wildcard Weekend is going to be absolutely great. Congratulations again, fellas, Michigan. I mean,
Thank you.
congrats. We'll see what next year has in store, but enjoy Super Wildcard Weekend. We'll see you guys next time.